My name is Jeffrey WEIR, and I'm here to sue my former roommate for vandalism in my apartment. He slashed my recliner chair, he glued my cabinet drawers shut, he damaged my entire place, and then he had the nerve to have me arrested.
Cue the defendant.
My name is Ryan Patterson. This is my fiance, Karen. We moved out because we found out the plaintiff is a registered child molester.
He put me through so much stress that at the time when I was pregnant, I was in and out of the hospital to the point I couldn't hold a job or go to school.
I am countersuing for emotional distress, property damage, and property theft.
All right, the plaintiff, Jeffrey WEIR, is suing defendant Ryan Patterson, his former roommate, for property damages, and the defendant is countersuing his former roommate for property damage, stolen property, and emotional distress. Now, Jeffrey, you say that you take the defendant in as your roommate, and then later you rent to both he and his fiance, but that when you later find out that you're about to lose your home, you had no choice but to give them an eviction notice. You then accuse him of gluing your cabinets together and doing all kinds of damage in retaliation. And the amazing thing is that you're arrested, or so it seems at this point. Now, you say that shortly after moving in with the plaintiff that you Googled him along with your girlfriend, fiance, and you were stunned to find out that he was a convicted child molester.
Yes, ma'am.
And that your fiance was pregnant with twins, and yet you still didn't move?
We were trying to get out.
When do you find out that he's got a criminal record?
We found out about June of last year, and because of me not having a job, no money.
Your Honor, I told him about my offense the year before.
What is your offense?
Sexual assault, 3rd degree.
So you're a registered sex offender?
Yes.
Okay, the sexual assault 3rd degree, why are you calling him a child molester?
I found out not just from the DAs after he was arrested for stealing all my stuff, but also from other people who know his case, that he had molested a 2-year-old.
No, I did not.
And that's why we were wanting to get out.
That is completely and totally false.
Who did you molest?
It was my girlfriend's daughter. She was not 2 years old.
How old was she?
She was 10.
Who are you?
I'm Samantha Morrow, his girlfriend.
You're his girlfriend, okay. Do you know anything about this, Samantha? Talk to me.
One week of our dating, he had told me we wanted to be truthful with each other. He told me what he did. And he did not just tell me I'm a sex offender. He told me from the story, from the beginning to the end of what he did. Now, I was a victim of sexual assault. But what happened to me was worse than what he did.
Is there any justification, Samantha, for the abuse and the molestation of a 10-year-old girl because what happened to you was worse? Are you kidding?
What happened to me was like my pants were down. He was touching me.
Who?
This was back when I was 10.
Another person?
This is another person.
But what's that got to do with his molesting a 10-year-old? You're here to tell me your victimization was worse?
Because he touched this girl when her clothes were still on. He did not go under her clothes.
We're not going to go into the legalities of it. Sit down, Samantha.
Oh,
sit down. You move in. You move in.
Yes, ma'am.
You find out that he's got a sex offense and that he is a child molester. And at some point, she becomes pregnant.
Yes.
Why is it that you, as soon as she moves in or as soon as you find out, don't find yourself a new place to live?
We were actually trying to, but every time we would try to get a place, people would say no, 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 because I didn't have a job and I didn't have the money.
Why didn't you have a job?
I was trying to get a job.
Talk to me. You evict them.
Yes. I evict Ryan. I also tell my daughter and son-in-law to move out as well because they're in the other apartment. I move out myself. It was on a Sunday I moved out. Tuesday, I get a call from my daughter. She says that Ryan had kicked my dog outside and wouldn't let him back in. My daughter leaves a very heated voicemail on my phone.
About the dog?
About the dog.
Okay.
She told me that as he was walking up the stairs, he kind of shoulder bumped her and then walked up the stairs.
So what do you do?
I get over there, the door's locked, I unlock it, I walk in, I hear those two whispering saying, "Here he comes," and I ask him what was going on. He just blew up, stood up, and started cursing about my daughter again. We had a heated discussion back and forth, and I eventually tried to assault him.
Were you there at the time?
I was.
Tell me what happened.
Your Honor, what happened is when he came back, I was sitting on the couch doing homework, and he came in. He was speaking very loudly. He obviously wasn't happy. He wasn't calm at all. And then he asked us what our problem was, and Ryan called him out on his being a sex offender, and then everything got heated. I tried to calm things down, and after a while, he stomped off to my room and threw. Jeff.
He stomps off to
Yes.
your room?
He stomps off to our room, and he picked up my TV and snapped the cord and threw it into our dresser. And
Did you throw the television?
I did not pick it up and throw it, but I did knock it off of the,
You knocked it off of what?
whatever they were, I think it was the desk,
You knocked it off a desk, and where did the television go?
onto the ground.
And Your
Then what
Honor,
happened?
Also, during the argument, before he had done that, he was literally threatening to beat her up, kick
I
my
did
dog
not
across.
threaten her
Yeah,
at
see,
all.
Did he threaten
Just-
you?
yes, he
I
did.
did
He
not.
threatened me,
Whatever.
which is mostly why Ryan had called the cops, because he was threatening me while I was
Yes.
pregnant. He was threatening to drop kick my dog. He was threatening Ryan as well.
Were you drinking that night?
No, I just got off work.
What happens to you?
I need to go to the hospital because I cannot stop
Did you
shaking.
go to the hospital?
I did go to
What
the
happened?
hospital. I had premature bleeding. My baby was breech. I was on ultrasound monitoring for 3 hours. I had fluids in me.
Do you eventually give birth?
I did actually in February.
You did.
Yes, I did.
And?
We had a lot of complications. I had preeclampsia from all the stress I was in. Elizabeth was on breathing tubes for an hour. She was also in the hospital for the first 2 weeks, and about a month and a half later, my daughter Delicia died from SIDS, which they believe to be cause of stress.
All right, so after this event where you go in and you throw the television down, what's the next thing that happens? You apparently put an eviction, a 5-day eviction on the door?
Yes.
Okay, and when is the next time you go back?
2 days later on Thursday.
2 days later on Thursday, you go back, and what do you find?
Gorilla glue on the cabinets, Gorilla glue on the drawers in the kitchen.
Gorilla glue?
Gorilla glue.
All right, on the doors, the cabinets. Do we have a video of this? Let's
Yes, we do.
look at this. I have not seen it yet.
That's my recliner. You'll see slashes with a knife. And there's Gorilla glue along the drawers. I was actually able to pull some of them open. There's extensive damage. I had estimates
In the
done.
electrical sockets?
Yes. There's quite a few electrical sockets that have glue in them.
All right, did you do that?
No, ma'am. I had no reason to do it.
You had no reason to do it.
No,
Your
actually, I didn't.
fiance's pregnant with twins. She goes to the hospital. She's bleeding,
Ma'am,
and
if I
he's
wanted to
evicting
do
you, and you
anything to
have
the
no
house-
reason to do it?
No, because I'd already had my say. I was okay with what had happened. I
Your Honor,
had a
he's very
place to go
vicious
out and to get out of there.
Oh, now all of a
So-
sudden you can find a place. Where'd you go?
My mother's.
Yeah, or-
Should have gone to your mother's months ago.
We ended up only staying at my mother's, Your Honor, for 2 days before we found a place with a friend.
Oh, automatically, then you found a place. All right, you know, you should have gorilla
Which-
glued yourself to the apartment ads and found yourself something there. Now, he's suing you for his property. Where's his property?
I put it in storage.
Did you have a court order evicting him?
I gave him a 5-day eviction
I know you
notice.
tacked a
That was
5-day
it.
notice on the door, but that's not legal. That doesn't just give you the right to go in there and take his property.
I was very upset. I was very frustrated.
You get frustrated and upset too much, and a guy with a record like yours is going to end up right back in state's prison. You don't have the right. You're going to end up in jail for a long, long time. Now, what property do you say you're missing?
Well, I actually have the copy of the stuff that was not returned. And I
All
also
right, where do you have a list of the stuff that you put in storage?
He provided a list when he filled out the police report.
Do you have a bill for the storage locker?
No, the storage was in my basement.
Okay, now, the issue is whether or not the defendant is liable to the plaintiff for property damage. All right, the defendant says, even though he came in and my fiance, pregnant with twins, ended up going to the emergency room and bleeding, I really didn't go back within the next 48 hours and gorilla glue the joint. Okay, I really didn't. Now,
I don't think there's any question but that you gorilla glued the place.
Actually, I didn't, but
Who do you think did that?
I'm going to say that he did just to get back at me to do this.
Oh, please. I would gorilla glue my own place.
you got some
Like
temper there.
Like you would molest a 10-year-old.
You got some temper there, and as far as
got to
I'm
be
concerned,
kidding me
what did you
right
say? What'd I miss?
It was like you would molest a 10-year-old.
Here's the bottom line. The property damage that the plaintiff is alleging is $5,000. I looked at that. I suspected the property damage is no more than $2,000. So I'm going to award you $2,000. Now, the defendant is alleging that the television was busted, a $600 television, theft of property, and emotional distress. So I'm going to give you $2,000 for theft of property. Right now, they are going against each other, so we're even here. You want money for emotional distress. You were suing for emotional distress. The cause of action is against the plaintiff by Karen and not by you. And you allege that one of the babies died, but died of SIDS, and that stress may be a part of that. I don't have a causal connection between the two. I really don't. But what I am going to do is I am going to give you $500 that you can probably use for your new baby. And as far as you're concerned, Jeffrey, you ought to stay out of trouble and pipe yourself down because you're going to end up in state's prison again. So
She lost the baby, but she also had the other one taken away because of neglect. He's very malicious, he's very vindictive, and he's a horrible person.
I just hope he ends up in jail someday.
I hope he ends up in hell.
I don't even think people that like anybody in the world that molest children, no matter what age they are, or molest anybody for that matter, should be allowed to live.
I think he's scum, and I'm amazed he can even find a girlfriend.
Amen.